Okay, what is route and how it works in cloud. Okay, so let's go to this. We have a
Sorry,
VPC here.
I'm sorry. I have a question here, if I can ask.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
Okay, so as you said, in Azure we have a network security group on which we apply the firewall rules. So in GCP we do not have any that kind of security group, and we can apply directly rules on the subnet mask, right? That's what you said,
See,
or
yeah, this is nothing. You can see firewall, right? This is nothing but an NSG itself, network security group.
okay. Okay,
Okay.
so we can apply this firewall rule to any of the subnet mask which we
Yes.
created in our project. Okay.
Yes. Yes. See
Okay.
the
Okay.
difference. You got it right. It is very simple. So in
Yep.
Azure, you create NSG, and you apply it to subnets,
Correct. Correct.
right? So in GCP, you create this firewall rules, and then you apply it to VPC on the VPC level, and then you select the subnets.
Got it. Got it.
So in Azure, you're not applying on the VPC VNet level. You got my point.
Correct. 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 That's what.
Yeah, that is the
Yeah.
difference. Okay,
Yep. Thank you.
welcome. So now let's talk about routes. Okay, so this is very important. We have a VPC. You have a subnet now that is 10.125.0.0/24. You have a VM which is created 10.125.0.2, for example, the IP address. Okay, so whenever you create any VPC with the subnet, by default, you will see the default routes. If I go here, okay, you can see two routes. One is 0.0.0, which means any traffic, any unknown traffic, which I don't know. Then the next hop should be default internet gateway. So what does it mean? For example, you're trying www.google.com, www.facebook.com. It is a public IP address, and this VNet doesn't know what it is, right? So by default, you have a route attached to it. That is one is 0.0.0. It is saying go to default internet gateway. That is a Google default internet gateway, and the second one is virtual network VDA VPC. Okay, so it means 10 dot go to VPC gateway VPC. Next hop as virtual network VDA VPC. So it means go to the VPC itself. Okay, so the meaning of this one is, for example, you're sitting on this VM that is 10.125.0.2 and you wanted to access google.com, www.google.com, facebook.com, whatever it is. Okay, then it doesn't know, the machine doesn't know this public IP address belongs to where, right? Okay, it could be any random IP address. That is why we are mentioning that any unknown IP, it should go to default internet gateway. So Google having a default internet gateway, so your traffic will be routed to that. From this gateway, it will reach internet. Okay, that is why you are able to access any Google, Facebook, whatever. So by default, it will go to your default internet gateway. From there, it will reach internet. Okay, and the second one, which is the known traffic, that is you have one more default route, isn't it? Which is 10.125.0.0/. This is nothing but your subnet. So for example, you have one more VM here. The IP address is 10.125.0.3. Okay, so from 2, if you wanted to reach 3, then it will take this routing table. Okay, so it will go to the VPC itself and it will reach the other VM. Okay, so this is how it works. For example, now the third scenario comes. Third scenario is you have a virtual machine and you have the default route and you have the another default route which is for the known traffic, and by default you're allowing everything. Okay, so by default you can access internet, you can access anything, and which is not safe. Okay, so you don't want to send the traffic directly to internet. Okay, so you wanted to send the traffic to the firewall. The firewall will, I'm not talking about the NSG level. Okay, I'm talking about the firewall now. Okay, the main network virtual appliance. Okay, so you wanted to, because the NSGs or the firewall rules which we have seen, right, it doesn't have the capability to analyze the traffic, etc. Okay, so it will just allow and deny. That's it. It doesn't analyze the traffic, whether it is a malicious traffic you are sending or coming inside. So it doesn't know anything. So now what you have to do, so now you have a VM here. So now this is your VNet. So now you have a VPC. Okay, you have internet, you have your on-prem network. Okay, so you have your machines here, 10.125.0.0.2, which is in the subnet 1. By default, as I told you, you can reach internet directly with the, because of the default route, that is 0.0.0.0 going to default internet gateway. Now you don't want to send the traffic directly to internet. You want to analyze the traffic and then send it to the internet. There comes something called NVA, Network Virtual Appliance. Okay, this can be your Palo Alto firewall or any firewall which can deploy in your cloud. Okay, so for example, you deploy your, there is a separate subnet, or you can say you are in the same subnet. You deploy this NVA. Okay, so at the IP address is 10.125.0.5. Now, instead of sending the traffic directly to internet, you want to send the traffic to your firewall. Okay, the firewall will check whether the traffic is genuine, etc., etc. Based on that, it will forward to internet. So how you do that? So you need to modify this default route. So what you have to do, earlier you're directly sending the traffic to internet gateway, right? So now you have to add a route saying that 0.0.0, that is any traffic, should go to 10.125.0.5. Okay, so now how we are going to do it? Okay, so we are going to the network route, create a route. I'll say the network is VPC and destination IP range, that is your subnet range, that is 10.125.0.0/24. Okay, sorry, no, not this one. This is the destination, that is internet dot zero. Okay, so any traffic should go to my specific IP address where you will mention 10.125.0.5. So the moment you apply this route, right, so your internet traffic will go to your any traffic, not only internet, any traffic except 10.125, because if you add any custom route, that will take precedence. Okay, so any traffic, internet traffic, it will go to 10.125.0.5, which is our network appliance, virtual appliance, nothing but a firewall that will inspect and that will send traffic to the internet. Okay, this is one scenario to send the traffic to internet from your VPC. And the second scenario, for example, you have an on-prem. The on-prem network is 10 dot. Okay, let's 196. I'll take 196. 10.196.0.0/20. Okay, I don't know, 20 will accommodate in this one. Okay, just for example, we'll take 22. Okay, 22. This is your on-prem where you have your Exchange server. For example, Exchange, you have your Exchange. Okay, now from this VM, you wanted to access Exchange. Okay, that is, which is, for example, the Exchange IP is 10.196.1.5. Okay, so you wanted to access Exchange from your Google Cloud server. Okay, now the moment you type 10.196.1.5, right? So it will check the route table. Okay, so in the route table you have only 2 routes, right? So you have 2 routes. One is anything which I don't know, send it to internet. Okay, and the other one, like now we have just mentioned, just keep it in a mind. Okay, let's add just to avoid a confusion for you guys. Okay, I'm mentioning anything which should go to the specify IP address. This is not the firewall is not there, but just just for understanding, I'm just putting it. I am just assuming the IP address of the firewall is dot 0.5. Okay, so now I will create the route. Okay, it is why this is because next hope doesn't match the IP address of any instance, because as I told you that it doesn't have the 125 is it doesn't have the presence, that is why. But anyways, just now this route will get default route will get ignored. Okay, so all the traffic which is related to internet, it will go to 10.125.0.0. Okay, now coming to this scenario. Now we have Action server in on-prem and we have a VM that is 125.0.0 and you want to access your on-prem Action server. So by default, when you type your Action server IP address, it will look into the firewall table, route table. So route, it will see any route is present, on the range of on-prem, that is 10.196. I cannot see any route, right? 10.196 is not there. So what will happen? It will directly send my traffic to this unknown because it is that 10.196 is unknown to this VPC. Okay, so it will send it to the firewall. Okay, so in the firewall, it will check and it doesn't have any information, it will drop it. Now what we have to do is we need to allow the traffic, right? We need to allow the traffic to on-prem. So how we'll allow the traffic? So there will be something called VPN connectivity between this. Okay, so now for exchange traffic, you have to pass the exchange traffic from this, to this tunnel. Okay, so for that, how you will define? So now we have to define the route like this. So any traffic which is 10.196.0.0 slash 22, which is on-prem, it should go to my VPN gateway. This is the 2 routes you have to add total. Okay, one for the internet and one for the on-prem. So now you will go back here. You will create add. Okay, on-prem route. You'll select the network and then you will see the destination is my on-prem, right? 10.196.0.0 slash 22. Okay. Then the next hope is a VPN gateway. Specify a VPN tunnel, it says. Okay, so I don't have any tunnels right now. So the moment we have a separate slide for the VPN part, so that time we will discuss. So the moment I create this route, right, my traffic will flow from the network, from GCP network to the on-prem through the VPN gateway, because we are defining the routes. Okay, so this is all about routes now. Okay, guys, any questions I would like to answer, because route is very important, because the day-to-day when you deploy any VDAs, working on the applications in the, let's say you have new applications which is hosted in on-prem, but you want to access it from cloud, that time you have to play with the routes. Guys,
So
any doubt here?
you created one default one, which is like can we delete that one default also, routing, or that we cannot delete?
That default route, I think you can delete also. This you can
Okay.
delete.
And what do you about the priority part between 1000 and all the stuff? Because I saw the 1000 either put it in the same way. What is the precedence for that one?
Yeah, see, I'll tell you something. If you put the, if you define the same routes, like,
Mm.
see, priority will come in picture when you have similar conditions, isn't it? For example, you yeah, see, priority is nothing but like the least priority, it will take precedence. For example, now I'll tell you something. Now I'm going to add one more route to 0.0.0. So I'm saying that I don't want to send the traffic to 0.5. I wanted to send the traffic to 0.6. Then you will increase the, sorry, you will decrease the priority. keep it 900 so that it will go to 0.6. You got my point? That's where priority comes in picture. For
Okay, so
example, let me give you the clear picture on this. You have a production network, production environment is running, and all your traffic, internet related traffic, going to the firewall, that is a Palo Alto firewall, for example, which is IP address is 0.5. Tomorrow you are upgrading and you wanted to change the firewall, you want to go with a different vendor, and the IP address is changed. Then you can add a route with the less priority so that your traffic will go to that firewall instead of going to the old firewall. You got my point?
I understand. Yeah.
Any other doubt? Because guys, like don't feel shy on this part. You are like, even if it is stupid question also, just ask me, because if you understand the routes clearly, then most of the parts you can handle in the cloud related to net.
So one question comes again with the VPC and routing stuff. So first we have to create the VPC stuff, and then since we are connecting to the on-prem environment, we have to select the VPN gateway. So obviously we have to go the routing path to first create the routing stuffs, and then we will have to select the VPN gateway to connect to the on-prem environment. So are you showing any VPN gateway
Yes,
stuffs or
yes, 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 yes.
oh, okay.
I have a separate demo session for the VPN, how we'll connect to VPN, etc. So we'll have a dedicated session for that. So yeah, we'll cover in that part in detail. But the concept is clear, right? Routing, how you're routing the traffic between your on-prem and internet or any other network. So how we have to add the routes, etc. They're
Yeah,
clear, right?
that's if you put in some in layman scenario, that would be like the some thing like, because you already explained what we I got that in layman, like the traffic part for that cloud to the GCP to like that one, if like something.
Yeah, see, in a normal term, if I'm saying like in a normal production environment, you have your on-prem environment here. Okay.
Mm.
On-prem, you have your cloud, you have your internet. Okay, then you have your GCP. Then maybe if you are a multi-cloud customer, you have AWS or Azure. Okay, now you deploy any VMs. By default, the VM, all the traffic will, as I told you, you'll have a two default routes. One is a default, that is 0.0.0, which means any traffic which is unknown. Okay, it will go to the default internet gateway. From there, it will go to internet. And any known traffic, which will, let's say the traffic within your subnets, then it will flow within the network using the other route which I told you, which is another default. There are two default routes which I mentioned. So now you wanted to change the pattern of your traffic. You don't want to send all the traffic to internet directly, and you wanted to send it to firewall, or you wanted to segregate the traffic to on-prem, etc. So then you have to do the traffic routing accordingly. So in a normal scenario, if you ask, you will normally add two routes. Okay, for example, your company is having 10 dot let's say 172.0.0.0/16. For example, you have n number of branches which all comes under this range. Okay, so you wanted to reach this range from your Azure GCP cloud, you have to put a route here saying that 172.0.0.0/16 should go to my VPN gateway. So that what will happen, all the traffic related to that, it will flow through your VPN gateway. Otherwise, when you don't have this route, right, it will go to your the default, that is 0.0.0, from where this from like it will get denied here. Why? Because internet doesn't know your private range, right? 172.
Correct.
So it will get dropped. Okay, the moment you add the proper route, it will know where to go, because you have a site to site VPN connectivity. Okay, so rest everything traffic you will put 0.0.0.0, maybe to the firewall. So now what will
Okay.
happen, any traffic, it will hit the firewall, and then it will go to the internet, or it will drop if it is not reachable or whatever.
So
So this is
in routing, if you go to the tab of routing, what are the requirement, like the source and destination is required for that? Correct? Can you go to the
yeah,
route?
only that is, yeah, only the destination is required.
Hmm.
So because see, routing is means you want to reach somewhere, so then source, because you are initiating the traffic, the source. So destination is required for routing.
Okay.
For
Got
example, if you wanted to reach on-prem or AWS, put the
it.
AWS IP address here, or Azure IP address here, or any network IP address to where you want to reach. Okay.
Yeah.
From where? From this VDA VPC.
So just one more query on this. Like we have the AWS environment also, so we cannot reach directly to the AWS environment. So first we have to go to the on-prem, and from there it need to go to the AWS environment, right? Because like
I'll tell you
AWS
something.
is also on like connected on-prem via peering or something like that. Like in Azure, it is express route or a VPN tunnel like that.
Yes, let me tell you something. For example, if you are a multi-cloud customer, you have a GCP, you have AWS, you have Azure, you have on-prem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on-prem. Between your Azure to you have express route, right?
Correct.
Here you will have something called interconnect, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
GCP also you'll have something called interconnect or site-to-site VPN. For a simple, you consider site-to-site VPN. Okay, so now the question
Yep.
is you wanted to reach from GCP to AWS, right?
Correct.
So normally enterprise customer will reach like this. They'll go to on-prem and they will reach the AWS. But this is also possible. You can deploy a VPN appliance here. You can deploy a VPN appliance here and you can route the traffic directly. But again, this is not a good practice because if you use VPN, the traffic will go over public IP, public internet. If you use this path, it will, if you have your express router interconnect, it is going via private. But both way it is possible. I hope the answer is clear.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay. You have to add a route here saying that any AWS traffic should go to the VPN tunnel. So it won't go in this way. In that case, it will take this path and it will reach AWS. Okay.